All right, welcome everybody. This is a What's Up For You call, and it is July 9th, 2024. So, yeah, just as I was sharing in that story about Ram Dass before the recording started, it's this time and this energetic climate is really about being able to be as present as possible, as connected to yourself as possible, kind of choosing the lens, you might say, of the heart versus choosing the lens of the mind. And it's almost like this, there can be all kinds of crazy things going on in any person's life and or out in the world at this time. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on out in the world. And the more that we kind of are able to dismiss that and really pull ourselves in, be in that still point, be in that awareness, there's a lot that opens up. There's a lot of potentials and possibilities that open up simply because we I'm going to use the word dismiss. So because we dismiss what is and go inside for those potentials and possibilities. What is just what has been created based on eons of information up to this point. But what's possible, maybe what's even probable, as far as I can tell, can be found right in that still point for each and every one of us. Yeah. So let's start with questions. Let's see where we're going today, and find out what's up.
All right, this first question is, what should I do to get my son to stop squeezing his classmates and teachers?
Well, first off, I think so often when the kids are doing things that appear disruptive or are challenging, or, we assume that they're doing something that is quote unquote wrong. And what I want to know first is, why is he squeezing? What's he squeezing? Is he trying to squeeze something in? Is he trying to squeeze something out? What does he feel like is being squeezed in or out of him? Yeah, it's like there's a reason why any of the kids do any of the things that they do. It's just that very often we see it through the lens of, oh, that's not right. That hurts. That's uncomfortable. And so we go about trying to eradicate that particular behavior without having any knowledge or knowing about what it's actually about. So, and I think those questions that were asked, what feels like it's being squeezed? Yeah, who's being squeezed? What are their commonalities? When are they being squeezed? These kinds of things are really important questions to ask, because if we don't ask those questions, we're missing the bigger opportunity. We're missing the communication that's actually trying to be had through that behavior, right? So, yeah. I think I'm going to leave that one there. I think the pondering of those questions is really an important place to stay instead of just having a fix or an answer to that particular question. Yeah, let's ask. I think you'll notice a big change just by asking. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Let's see, I'm in a rather odd living situation at the moment. Could you give any insights around the energetics of this?
Okay. So all I see is that it's almost like there's the energetics look like there's this twisting in, and then there's a release, and then there's this twisting in, and then there's this release, almost like a constraint, and then being released from that constraint, or the possibility or potential of being released from that constraint. And it almost looks like it's like a pulse, it's like a breath in and out. There's huge opportunity in it. There's almost a little bit of a conflict between either between staying or going, or the conflict is about this energy of what's being received from that experience or what's not being received from that experience. And all I want to suggest here is that particular environment is offering you something deeper than maybe what you have been able to access before. And it's not about anybody else involved in that environment, or nobody else involved in that environment. It's really about what you are feeling, experiencing, recognizing, realizing by being in that environment. And really, again, it's kind of like, again, all these questions, the inquiry, it's like, how do I feel here? What is that expression? What am I learning about myself? All of those kinds of things you're there. It's interesting. You're definitely there for, it's where you are, obviously. So it's where you are required to be or need to be in this moment. And again, there's something that just being in this space, it's causing you to dig into something within yourself that you wouldn't have dug into without that experience. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of like it's not the same because your situation is different, but it's like me trying to move not too long ago, and every time I tried to move, I couldn't move. It's like, nope, you're staying right where you are. And it's like, it's the ego identity says, I don't want to stay right where I am. I want to do what I think I'm supposed to do next or want to do next. And it's like the bigger picture is going, yeah, no, that's nice, but you're going to stay right where you are. And it gives you this opportunity to deepen into what those feelings are. Yeah. Why they're coming up. So I hope that's helpful.
Okay, I have a throbbing sensation down my left arm that comes and goes. Could you give any insights into deeper messages of this?
Right arm, you said, Sharon?
Oh, sorry, left arm.
Oh, left arm. Okay. So the thing I see there is just, it's like these channels, this channel is trying to open, and it has an awful lot to do with both giving and receiving, not just being a giver or not just being a receiver, but it's almost like that right arm is attempting to open up pathways that might have had a particular pattern in the past, and that pattern is no longer useful to you. It's almost like there's a true, I just keep seeing this true balance of giving and receiving. And I keep hearing it like on your horizon. Yeah. So whatever that experience has been for you, what, if even as I say those words, giving, receiving, you might say, I've never been able to receive, or you might say, I have a really hard time giving. And they might be both the same, but that's where I would look, because there's nothing, quote unquote, I'm not seeing anything wrong. What I'm seeing is this attempt at balancing those two arms. The right arm might be doing just fine, but the left arm is really trying to come into balance with the other. So, yeah.
Our son is having a lot of gut challenges and brain inflammation that results in behavioral symptoms. Conventional medicines are not working. We are now working on Reiki healing and other healing modalities. He seems to respond more to that. Can you help me more, Leslie? Can you help me more on how to enhance his healing for him?
Okay, this one caught me off guard. Hold on just a second. Okay, let's do it this way. There's all kinds of information in his digestive system that is not just physical information, meaning it's not just food. It's not just attempting to digest food. And we can also look at it from the vantage point of attempting to digest, physical realities, mental realities, emotional realities. So all of that energy is kind of, you might say, kind of like tied up in a knot. Yep. And so every time you try to move something physically, you might say the mental or the emotional state gets kind of tied up in that. If you try to move it emotionally, then the other ones get tied up. So, hold on a second. You were saying, okay, so let's lift out permission. Okay, so yeah, so let's lift out the knots. It's not mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. It's the relationship between all of those that's got the digestive system in knots. Yep. And so we're relieving him of the knots instead of trying to go at it from this angle, that angle, that angle. So no matter, let's say like, we're going to move this energetically right here, right now. But the other side of it is as you are moving forward with whatever work you do with him, if you're addressing it physically, you call in all of those other worlds, realms, realities as well. If you're addressing it through Reiki and they're primarily focusing on, maybe emotional energy, or maybe they're focusing on dimensional energy, you're wanting to pull in all the information instead of just hitting it from one angle at a time. Yep. Okay, so let's clear his field of all those knots. And we'll put all those knots in a sphere out in front of us. And we'll blue star that. And spin his whole field to clear, spinning out all the knots, it's the relationships between the physical, mental, emotional, the different fields of his body. It's the relationships between those that is creating the digestive issue. There we go. So spin that to clear. We'll compress and condense that clear sphere back into that blue star. And we'll just drop that blue star right into his digestive tract. So his digestive tract knows about a new pattern, knows a new way of moving forward. in relationship to all these realms. There we go. And we'll implode that into billions of frequencies of light there. Yeah. This is coming very much from, you know, we're all multidimensional beings. We're all multidimensional beings, and we all have certain lenses that we see the world through, or that the world sees us through. And as such, we kind of start separating off maybe our emotions and our thoughts and or our physicality. It's like we kind of treat them like separate systems, and they're all one. Yep. And that's what he's now able to digest. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
My 2-year-old hasn't had any vaccines yet. We are considering starting him in preschool, and they will require us to at least start. Will you take a look to see if he might have any issues if he gets vaccines? Thank you.
Blah, 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 blah. In all honesty, I have, well, I have such a, I'll say a strong personal opinion about this in some ways. So, hold on a second. Let me see what he'll. It's one piece of advice that I mean, I have a daughter who has a baby, you know, a 7-month-old right now, and so we're having this conversation too. I won't give her that advice either. I'll just give her the information that I have. So, but let me see what wants to. I just got to get out of my own way. Give me a second. Let me just say this. So when this conversation comes up for you, and when that dialogue, you know, when this conversation comes up, and the very fact that we're having the conversation, you have a little bit of a question mark around the vaccines anyway, or around, you know, whether that's supportive or not supportive. And then there's also the trials and tribulations of, you know, what an educational system requires. Yep. And so, and what I feel is I feel all of this energy kind of like right between the heart and the space in between, right underneath the heart space. When you're talking about this topic, that's where things stick. Yeah, that's where it's almost like, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to suggest here. Right now, you're in a scenario where, and so many people, please hear me, so many people are in this same scenario where it's an either or, right? This educational system is requiring this, and my gut says this. And so immediately we're kind of like in this tug of war right between our hearts and our power centers. And that tug of war, again, assumes that it's an either or. And before any choice is made, before any decision is taken, let's move this energy back into a both and. Yep, there are all kinds of, I mean, we could just say there's all kinds of ways around those things. As far as those requirements, and it does require, you know, that what it requires is that belief, that deep belief that this is the right thing to do, right? So right there. Hold on a second. Let's open up this either or, and let's open it up not just for you, but let's open it up for millions of people all over the world who have this same question, this same stress. And again, this energy around it of it being either or. I either do what someone else requires of me, or I do what feels right within me. Yeah. And it's that tug of war too. If I do what feels right within me, then, I can't work, or I can't send my kid to, play with other kids, or I can't, right there, right there, right there. Okay, so let's open that space up right underneath the heart. We want to be shown with ease and grace all the ways that this decision is a decision that's made from the depths of your own knowing, and that decision is not compromised by anyone else's regulations. Yeah. So, yeah, let's open that up. Open it up. It's interesting. There's so much emotion right there, not just for you, but as you can imagine, for everybody who faces the same conversation. There we go. Okay, one other thing. There's like a script, or like when I'm right underneath, kind of that breast line, and you right underneath that heart space, it's like there's a script that we've all been conditioned to follow, or assume that we have to follow, that we actually don't have to follow. It's like someone else's script. Yeah. And so whatever our choices are, they're, at the end of the day, there are choices. Yeah. So let's pull that other people's information right out of that space. Right? There we go. It's like a scroll or a script or something like that. Put that in a sphere. We'll blue star it. We'll spin it to clear. Compress and condense that clear sphere into that blue star, and drop that blue star right back into your heart space, so that the answer you're seeking becomes really obvious from the inside out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it there.
Okay. After Monday's New World portal, I was curious about the 8-8 Lionsgate portal and its connection to Jesus walking through the Lionsgate of the city on his way to crucifixion. What is the energetic connection and does it free us or seek to keep us in a limited structure of being? Thank you.
I guess you get to choose. It's like, so again, instead of an either or, we're moving into a time now where we literally have choice points. So we can use, it's like a sacred site, or an incantation, or a certain practice. It's like any one of those can be used for any one of those can be used to expand our consciousness or to limit it, you know? And we actually get to choose. So what I want to say there is that even regardless of what has transpired before and what some people experienced and made that particular experience mean, you get to use that same portal, that same gateway to make it mean what you would like it to mean. Yeah. To me, they're all kind of like, you might say they're all energetic potentials and possibilities. And the energetic potentials and possibilities of a couple thousand years ago and the energetic potentials and possibilities of right here, right now are pretty drastically different. Yeah. And what was required for an individual that was helping to land, you might say, a Christed consciousness at that time is now a multitude of individuals, of souls who are acknowledging their Christed state. Yeah. And so there's something here about there's something here about choosing for this time, knowing that one has choice. Knowing that the imprints of the past can be reoriented, reclaimed is what I'm hearing, by moving through these particular portals with a different lens, through a different vantage point. Yeah. Does that make sense? I hope that's that. One of the things that's sticking out in this conversation, a lot of times there will be a theme that shows up, and let's pay attention, especially now, to where we make anything an either or. You know, where can that same experience, person, process, where can it be a both and? Yeah. Yeah. I hope that's helpful.
My son gets hyperactive whenever he comes into contact with the water. He becomes active after bath. He runs, jumps, and shouts so much. Similar behavior comes when he plays in the rain or water-covered pathways after the rain. Even keeping his hands in running tap water or sitting in a bucket full of water makes him hyperactive, as if he is losing control over his body. He also can't tolerate water on his head and face area during the bath. Why is this happening and how can I help him there?
Well, you know, on this planet, water is probably one of the most absorbent, literally absorbent, how do I want to say this? Hold on a second. Water absorbs information. Water absorbs information, it absorbs consciousness, it absorbs all kinds of things. And so we are assuming that that water that's in the tub, or that water that that it's just water, that it's just water. It's not water. It's not just water. It's filled with information. It's interesting. He doesn't like it on his head. He doesn't like it up around his crown, around his third eye, around on his hair, maybe, which is his power. It's like, no, I'm not taking in other information fields in that way. And when I do take it on, because I am in a bath, now I have to process it out. So I've got to process it out. So one of the things that I would say and do in his presence is I would start blessing the water. I would have him putting information into the water instead of him just absorbing the information that's already in the water. Yeah. So it's him starting to learn that he can have a command of that. One, on a very human level, helps regulate his nervous system around that, so he's not in so much fear and anxiety around that. But the other side of it is, as he's clearing and reprogramming the water, then he can actually imprint others. He can actually improve that liquid state, that water state, for the well-being of someone else, right? So let's just use the bathtub. Right now, the faucet goes on, the water comes in, bathtub gets filled up. If we now look at that water as information, and where does that water come from? What kind of processing has it been through? What kind of consciousness is part of that processing? All of it, just, all of it, that's all. Now his body's stuck down in that water, and he's receiving all of that information. If we put all that water in the tub, and then we say, okay, we're going to clear this water, we're going to bless this water, we're going to make this water love, we're going to make this water joy, we're going to make this water have the capacity to help regulate my body, him saying this, and others' bodies, right? He jumps in the tub with that intention, with that imprint blessed into the water. And when he pulls the drain and lets that water go down the drain, that's now going back into that system. Yeah. Yeah. It's an empowerment of what his capacity is. He's telling you he's very, very sensitive to the information fields or the consciousness that comes through that liquid form. And we're going, okay, you're really, really sensitive to it. Well, let's let you feel empowered around that instead of disempowered. If you are so connected with that element, then let's really connect you with that element. Yeah. And you empower the element instead of the element disempowering you. Yeah. Okay.
I'm affected by past life regression. That is causing a lot of emotional pain right now. How to heal from that?
Can I ask you something? Are you going to, in doing the past life regressions, are you going to look for something specifically? Are you having something coming up in your now moments, in your current life experience, and you're looking for a remedy for that in the past or in the perceived past? Or is that, yeah, I guess my question is, why are you having the past life regressions in the first place?
They're saying healing is delayed because of it.
Healing still because of the participation in past life regressions? Or healing's
Yes.
delayed because of some past life experience?
He just said yes to past life regressions.
Questions. Okay. I'll hit this as best I can. So there's always no, hold on a second. Sanda de kyong gong gingen jen joa kami and kyoko amin jaja samta de kyoka asam. All I'm hearing to say is that everything's happening now. Everything's now. Everything's now. Sometimes someone will have a past life regression or be part, go into some kind of process to help alleviate a stress that is perceived as being somewhere else. So whether that's another timeline, whether that's another lifetime, whether that's another dimension, this is the reason why we do healing work in the first place. We assume that whatever is in the now moment that isn't being relieved must be somewhere else, from somewhere else. And there's logic, you might say, in that. There's a reason for that. What I'll tell you, this is what I hear. The past life regressions are amplifying a situation that is trying to move through naturally and organically. However, that past life experience, or any other experience for that matter, is impacting you in this now moment, however it's impacting your mental state, your emotional state, your body, can we meet it right where it is? Can we meet that part of ourselves with love, compassion, understanding? Can we assume that whatever is showing up in the now moment, if it is connected to a past life or a different dimensional existence or a different timeline, can we assume that by meeting it in the now with love, compassion, and understanding, that we're also meeting whatever those other reference points are with the same energy, that we're in the now moment, we're bringing love, compassion, and understanding to it. That love, compassion, and understanding in the now moment is fed, you might say, dimensionally, throughout time and space, beyond time and space, back to whatever that challenge may have been. But the key is being with it in this moment. All the elements that brought it to this moment are all contained in this moment. And the moment we meet it, hold it, love it, have some compassion for it, let it find its way. We're not adding energy by going to look at it, to go find it. We're just simply meeting it where it is. Yeah? I hope that's helpful.
In mid-April, I hit rock bottom place, physically and mentally. Since then, I have made progress getting help for anxiety and long-term digestive issues of being unable to digest and eliminate most foods. I am realizing that major childhood traumas have been hovering under the surface, creating anxiety. I was wondering what you see for me energetically now. Thank you for your insight you might have.
I see a little one inside of you, maybe a few little ones inside of you that are in relief. And what I hear them say is, now you know we're here. Yeah, it's like, now you know we're here. It's that hitting rock bottom is so uncomfortable to the identities that needed to be established in order for those little ones to make it to now, to be able to get to this place. So many people think hitting rock bottom is some kind of failure or something. Hitting rock bottom is literally the dismantling of all of those strategies, you might say, that were necessary for a time to kind of get those little ones out of harm's way, but that no longer serve those little ones. It's like what I see is that those little ones within you are relieved that they now are known. They're now, it's like they've been broken out of a cage. And as they're broken out of that cage and they're acknowledged, they begin to share their capacities with you. So it's like you've been dismantled so that this more innocent aspect of you, the capacity of you, could reveal itself once again. Yeah. Yeah. Gentle, gentle, gentle. It's not it's not easy to be unceremoniously kind of dismantled in that way. Yeah. And in my own experience of that, and in others that I've worked with, what I see over and over again is that dismantling is the precursor to allowing the greater capacity of our own innocence, the greater capacity of what we actually came here with to be expressed. Yeah. Yeah. So easy on yourself, my love.
I seem to be in a loop, never being able to make enough money to support my family. I don't know what I'm doing to block this. It's a huge blind spot. Any help is appreciated.
So I know this one firsthand. It's like dari hold on a second. So when the challenges with money become predominant, it's like that's all we can think about. You might say it kind of ends up, can rob us of our joy. It can rob us of some of the simpler pleasures of life, or even having a moment where we're just relaxing into what is because we're worried about or concerned about the next moment. And what I just hear loud and strong for you is, in some ways you could say it's not about the money so much as it is about the pattern of it's about the pattern of worrying about it, and I know that this can sound like a catch-22. If I don't, a lot of people say if I don't worry about it, then I don't have it, and then I don't. But the fact is even when we worry about it, we still don't have it until we do, right? So I'm looking at two directions to go here. Hold on a second. Yeah, so this isn't even, in your case, this isn't even about, well, visualize money or visualize how it feels or anything like that. It's too close to home for you. It's too close to the fear, yeah, the anxiety. What could be more helpful is that when that money worry comes up or that money stress comes up, use that opportunity, go, okay, there's that stress, and use that opportunity to just look right in that moment. It's like, what feels good now? Yeah. What, my people that I love are here, or, or it's a sunny day, or anything that kind of just alleviates that focal point for a moment. Because the only thing that's trying to happen here, honestly, I mean, your abundance is there. Your amount, your abundance is literally there in all of those moments of, you might say, joy, all those moments of ease, all those things that are literally right there in front of you. And it's almost like you're training yourself to kind of go, yep, there's that fear, worry, and concern. Fear, worry, and concern is not going to add to the abundance. So I might as well kind of go, okay, what's right here, right now that feels abundant, that feels, and it can be something so simple. Oh my gosh, it's like a bird just came to the window, or, the light is hitting the tree, or my kid just hugged me. It's whatever it is, whatever you can find in that moment, because it's not going to take very much of that repatterning. You just need to catch a couple of those threads and choose to see what's there, and to, instead of see what's not there. Yeah. And as soon as you choose a few of those threads, all of a sudden you're kind of into choosing those threads, and all of a sudden you're like going, hey, there's enough to pay the rent. There's enough to, yeah, you're just flipping that energy. And it's up right now, especially not to punish you, but to say that you have choice, that there's something else to play into, to feel into. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that's helpful.
My 27-year-old daughter has increased anxiety since the pandemic. Since October, she is unable to go out anywhere, almost agoraphobic. Her medication doesn't seem to be helping. We are confused with other therapies. Any advice?
Well, first, we're going to thank her for absorbing so much of the energy that was part of that experience for so many. So there are people on this planet that are emotional body processors, mental body processors, physical body processors. Very often they look like the most fragile among us. And through my lens anyway, very often they are simply capable of processing collective energy so that it transmutes within the whole, right? Not an easy gig to have as a soul, but nevertheless a capacity. So, but how often does anybody say thank you to the person who is emotionally dysregulated? Or how often does somebody just say, wow, you have such deep empathy, such deep capacity to feel the energy, to feel the energy of that whole experience. Thank you, thank you, thank you for processing that for us. Thank you. And now that you know that that's what you're doing, does that alleviate some of your stress? Because what happens with anxiety is that, we're all in our own little bubbles, and we feel anxiety and we just assume that it's our anxiety. So then we start to assume that we're broken. And then everybody else around us kind of assumes the same thing. And they kind of go, okay, well, let's figure out how we're going to fix you so that you don't feel that way anymore, instead of seeing the capacity that it actually represents. I can already feel her shifting, by the way. So just by acknowledging, even if you never say this to her, I would love for you to, but, or at least say it to her higher self, but to really start to dismantle this idea that it is her anxiety. It's not. It's not. I mean, 30 years of working with energetically sensitive kids and being one myself, I can tell you, it's none of this is just ours, right? We literally are one. And some of us have a capacity for some things and others have a capacity for other things so that the whole can feel whole. Yeah. So let's say it to her. Let's say it to ourselves. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the capacity that you have. And let's understand that that anxiety does not belong to you and you alone. Yeah. From that place, it's much easier to regulate what comes in and what doesn't come in, how fast it comes in. The fact that it's going to come in, that's probably going to happen because that's the capacity of the soul. Yeah. All right.
For years, I have a lot of neck pain. A healer told me I died several lifetimes on a violent way in the neck area. The pain is certainly connected with fear. How do you, Suzy, look at this? So grateful for your being.
Yes, I see those lifetimes. And in this one, it feels to me like you are not so much repairing the emotional trauma or the stress of dying in those ways or that kind of stuff. It's like all I see, this is what I see. Your soul star, ching, lights up, your crown lights up, third eye, right? Throat, and then the throat's like, it's like short circuiting, as you might have, not had a head or had something happen with the spine in these different places. Instead of focusing on the lives and the deaths and those patterns, I would start running energy, if I were you, between the soul star and the earth star. Run it down through the spine, find those places in the spine where it short circuits, and spend a little time there. Spend a little time not figuring out why or any of that, but just spending some time adding some love, compassion, understanding, asking for that energy to be reconnected, right? This is the lifetime where you get this flow of energy back between the crown and the earth star. Yep. And so we're gonna thank our back. Yep. Your back literally has your back. Let's say it like that. Your back literally has your back. It's like, okay, all of this pressure, all of this discomfort, all of the and so we're just going to change the lens just a little bit. Instead of this is what all that trauma is about. Okay, we know that it's about trauma. And again, how can we meet that trauma in this moment so that it moves back into flow? It's like you're restructuring a pattern. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Okay, now let's closing remarks. Yeah.
Yeah, just a
Suzy.
couple of quick things. Yeah, the link is in the chat if you want to send coffee money to Suzy. And then also we have New World Portal that you can join anytime. So if you want to add any to that.
Yeah. Yeah, the New World Portal is something you can jump into at any time. We have the Children's Sanctuary, that's the last Thursday of every month, which you guys might already, feels like a lot of you are already there. There's the Balance and Integration session, that's the first Monday of every month. So there's a lot of options for energetic support. And just know that the minute that anyone enters that particular, any of those support systems, those energetic support systems, your consciousness, your higher self is added to that mix. So you guys are actually providing the information in those sessions so that that information in all its detail is very directed to who that particular group is, right? It's what their opportunities are. Yep, it can be very collective and very personal all at the same time. So also the integration series, we do that about once every 7 weeks. So, and I think we're only in week 2 right now. So yeah, we've probably got another 7 weeks until that one will show up. So, okay, enough with the elevator talk and the spiel. So let's see what wants to, yeah, we're just going to keep it really simple here. It's one, where can something be now? Like no, how can we look at something now? How can we meet it now? Yep, wherever it's from, whatever it's about, how can we meet it now? Can we meet it with love? Can we meet it with compassion? Can we meet it with understanding? Can we allow something that we're experiencing or dealing with now to be a both and? Can we look at it from both sides? Yeah. And also, can we simply ask or get in the habit of asking to see an experience through its highest capacity? Let me see this experience in its highest capacity so that we're not just seeing things as quote unquote wrong. Yeah. All right. I hope that's helpful, everybody. It was great being with everybody, and see you next month. Okay. Bye.